we have plenty to cover from last week. First, last week's summary execution of Syrian soldiers in the northern city of Aleppo still made news. International outcry may have come a little too late, since it was not the first time that such footage had been posted online.
A video posted online on July 31st shows members of the so-called Free Syrian Army killing members of Al Bahri tribe in the city of Aleppo, execution style. The family members were accused of supporting the government of President Bashar al-Assad. On August 13th, a video emerged apparently showing opposition fighters throwing the bodies of postal workers off a building in the province of Aleppo. On September 10th, pictures and videos were posted on the internet showing summary executions of at least 20 young Syrian soldiers. They were all blindfolded and handcuffed. The soldiers had reportedly been captured during an attack on a military post in the east of Aleppo. These are only a few cases of atrocities that the armed insurgents have officially claimed. However, there have been other incidents of mass killings over the past 20 months. The Syrian government accuses the insurgents of committing those crimes, but they've never claimed responsibility.
And then on Thursday, another disturbing video emerged showing insurgents executing captured Syrians. Quick warning, the images you're about to see are very disturbing. Well, it became evident that the U.S. had failed in its efforts regarding this SNC. Extremists, like the ones you just saw committing war crimes, were now a concern for the United States, that they may hijack the revolution. Is the U.S. in scramble mode? Check out this statement from the U.S. State Department spokeswoman Victoria Nuland on the SNC restructuring, which was stated right before the meeting in Doha, Qatar.
The conversation among Syrians that we've been party to has talked about a relatively broad council with a smaller leading board of some kind, similar to what's been done in other transitioning states. But I think we have to just see what emerges from the conversations in Doha.
The decision by the Syrian opposition to incorporate more groups was taken on the second day of a 4-day summit of opposition groups in the Qatari capital of Doha. The meetings aim at forging a more united front against Syrian President Bashar al-Assad. According to sources within the Syrian National Council, the number of current members of the General Secretariat will be reduced from 313 to 220 in order to pave way for 200 new members, representing some 13 new opposition groups. In reaction to the US-backed talks in Doha, Syrian Deputy Foreign Minister Faisal Miqdad said these talks only served to aggravate the situation in Syria. He also accused the United States and its allies of creating groups in Syria which are subservient to US interests. Dealing a blow to the already fragmented Syrian opposition, US Secretary of State Hillary Clinton said last week that the US no longer considers the Syrian National Council to be the sole representative of the Syrian opposition. But the SNC hit back at the criticism on Friday, accusing Washington of undermining the revolt and sowing the seeds of division. Some analysts believe that the United States, which has pursued a failed policy in Syria, is trying desperately to change the course of events in its favour. The US is reportedly seeking channels to provide modern weapons to the insurgents, but wants guarantees that the arms will not end up in the wrong hands.
They are they're rearranging the deck chairs on the Titanic here, that the policy has reached an impasse, that it's clear that the groups we are supporting are essentially terrorist groups.
Looking at two interview reports. First, in an exclusive interview at Press TV's headquarters in Tehran, Turkey's former culture minister Nami Kemal Zeybek strongly criticized Ankara's interference in Syria's internal affairs.
What business do you have in Syria, Mr. Recep Tayyip Erdogan? What business do you have in Syria, Mr. Ahmed Davutoglu? The Syrian issue is none of our business. When someone has a fight in his home, it's not other people's business. This is what logic dictates. What interests does Turkey have in Syria?
Then came President Assad's TV interview, in which he said, "I think the price of this invasion, if it is happening, is going to be more than the whole world can afford," in reference to the West embarking on a military intervention in Syria. He also added, "I'm not a puppet. I wasn't made by the West to go to the West or any other country. I'm Syrian, I'm made in Syria, and I have to live in Syria and die in Syria."
I think for the president to stay or to leave is a popular issue. It's not a personal issue. And the only way to define this term precisely through the ballot boxes. So it's not about what we hear, it's about what we can get through that box. And that box will tell any president to stay or leave, very simply. If the whole world, or let's say a big part of the world, including your people against you, are you Superman? Oh, you're just a human being. So this is not logical. So it's not about reconciling with the people. And it's not about reconciliation between the Syrian and the Syrian. Don't have civil war. It's about terrorism and support coming from abroad to support terrorists to destabilize Syria. This is our war. I'm not puppet. I wasn't made by the West to go to the West or to any other country. I'm Syrian. I'm made in Syria, and I have to live in Syria and die in Syria.